Hello, welcome to my presentation. I'm Zainab. I'm going to present our fifth homework. Let's start with Renaissance. The Renaissance. After the depletion of the population of Europe in the 14th century from the Black Death, cities and towns rebounded with vigor. A population that is suddenly much smaller must find new ways to function. It is like mechanical devices and more trade made up to some extent for missing people. The new atmosphere encouraged the development of the arts, science, and technology. This is Little Ice Age. Europe and Asia began to cool intensely about 4015. The cooler climate was harmful in the far north, but seemed to invigorate trade and commerce in lower latitudes. The crises of the 14th and 15th centuries had also destroyed the feudal system of the Middle Ages, allowing the artisans and traders in the cities to gain power. This is Columbus. Columbus had reached the Americas, completing the linkage of most of the globe. The period of exploration by ships from Portugal, Spain, Holland, and England revealed the civilization of Africa and America as well, adding to the known civilization of Europe and Asia. These discoveries, however, resulted for many reasons in the destruction of the newly formed states and the downfall of their peoples. The 15th century was primarily a time of the observation of classical learning and the adaptation of Arabic mathematics. It was much more a period of change in arts and letters than in science. Alchemy and astrology were more important than chemistry and astronomy during this time. It's barely possible to date the beginning of the Renaissance. It's almost impossible to say when the Renaissance ended. The scientific revolution. Publication of Copernicus' heliocentric theory and visual anatomy is a good start point for this period, but Catholic Church and the Protestant Church of Martin Luther opposed the beliefs of Copernicus, but the Catholic Church persisted in its opposition and reaped most of the blame for unscientific attitudes. And Galileo was warned not to permit Copernican ideas. Much later, the Church lifted its ban on the publication of works that defended the Copernican system. Mathematics, an almost universal language. Throughout the period, mathematicians introduced various symbols and conventions, plus, minus, and time signs, letters for constant and variables, and raised numerals for exponents. Not only were mathematical symbols beginning to make a difference, but the tools of mathematics. Together, these symbols greatly simplified the communication of mathematical ideas. Technology. The development of perspective was a step toward better grabbing of measurements and measuring parts. Measurement was greatly improved. Not only of length with the Vernier scale and the micrometer, but also of other qualities such as height, humidity, and air pressure. Major advances for astronomy. Galileo's introduction of the astronomical telescope in 1609 changed astronomy forever. In biology, we can say animals and plants were described in several works. Chemistry, one chemical mixture that had originated in China, had a great influence on Europe and the rest of the world during this period, and it is gunpowder. Communication. The first atomic societies were formed in Italy during this period. In computer, a series of steps can be traced from the automation through the music box to the juggled loom and player piano to the punched cards that were to program the first actual computers in the 20th century. In our sense, the main new understanding of Earth came. Food and agriculture, farmers introduced several new techniques that made agriculture much more effective. Mathematics, as we say, standard algorithms and bookkeeping methods were introduced. Medicine and health. Most of the progress in life science during this period was in medicine, especially anatomy. The invention of printing led to the books on surgery and medicine. Physics. Galileo performed a series of experiments with moving bodies, making physics into an experimental science and founding the field of dynamics. Tools. The greatest technological innovation of the period was printing from movable type. Transportation, maps needed by sailors following the routes of the great explorers were improved. Let's continue with Saturn's ring. In 1610, Galileo reported Johannes Kepler this why it is not saying openly, because there was this time and people were saying this so others can steal it in like a message. Using a better telescope, Christian Huygens was able in 1656 to write an anagram announcing that Saturn has a ring. Later, Caroline Casey observed in 1675 that there were at least two rings separated by a gap, and correct guess that the rings are made up of many small objects. Francis Bacon and the scientific method. He argued that science should follow the example of the mechanical arts by being founded on nature, but he also stated that the mechanical arts should have science as their master. He wasn't a scientist, but he had very good ideas for this period. The Church and Astronomy. In letters, Galileo argued that not everything in the Bible should be taken literally, and this was a big conversation. Galileo further argued that the Church had the burden of proving that the Copernican system is wrong. Later, Copernican system, the Catholic Church continued officially denied the Copernican theory until 1992. The advent of electricity, an electric current could produce magnetic effects in another 10 years. The commerce was shown and magnets were being used to generate electric currents. With the development of powerful currents produced by magnetic generators, the stage was set for the use of electric power for light, for communication, and for production of motion. This concludes my presentation. I hope I have been clear. Thanks for listening.